let's bring in Derek Muller. He's an election law expert and professor of law at the University of Notre Dame. Professor Muller, great to be with you as always. A lot to discuss, but first, tell us more about these new claims by Jack Smith and what stood out to you the most.
Right. So Smith's brief here is coming back after the Supreme Court's decision this summer in Trump versus United States, which said that a former president can't be prosecuted for his official acts at the core of his constitutional authority. But for other official acts that are at the periphery, he could be prosecuted. But that presumption of immunity has to be overcome by the prosecutor. And for private acts, of course, he can be prosecuted. So in a 165-page filing, Jack Smith is going through fact by fact, detail by detail to say these were the acts of a private citizen campaigning for office, pressuring officials. They were not within the president's scope of authority. And therefore, even after the Supreme Court's decision, there's no immunity. This prosecution can proceed.
Yeah, and former President Trump's legal team, well, they're questioning the timing of these allegations, saying that they're being released too soon to the election. Your thoughts on that, and do you think they have a point?
I mean, there is a point that anytime you are engaged in a battle like this with a candidate, it obviously has the risk of affecting the election. Now, the Department of Justice policy, there is kind of a 60-day window, and it's a bit internal and not necessarily sort of a public hard and fast rule. It's usually about bringing indictments, but this indictment was brought months ago, years ago. It's really a question about whether or not these new filings that do have new facts, new factual allegations that the prosecution might have held at bay until trial, but trying to demonstrate his private conduct. So on the one hand, we want this case to move forward, but on the other hand, there's no question it's happening in the middle of an election season, and the judge has authorized the filing, in this sort of narrow window before the election.
Yeah, Derek. So what comes next? I mean, what will happen to President Trump on the campaign trail?
So, I mean, on the campaign trail, obviously, I think he's going to deny these allegations, or maybe he'll just ignore them and move on. His legal team is going to have a chance to respond to these allegations. They asked for a late November date. From what I've seen, the judge has authorized a November 7th reply, so that's going to be days after the election. His legal team can respond to these allegations. So we'll see that the legal process will play out, but I don't know that we're going to see a whole lot before the election. Instead, this will be left to the political process and the campaigns to fight about what it means.
Switching gears, something else I just want to touch on quickly before I let you go. You of course, are at the University of Notre Dame, as we mentioned. One student newspapers there recently made news when it said for the first time in 12 years, more students were actually planning to vote for the Republican candidate for president. And Donald Trump had about 48%, and Kamala Harris was at 46%. Can you talk to us more about that? Take us inside of those numbers. And does that reflect what you're seeing and hearing on campus?
Sure. So I'm at the law school, so I'm a little bit insulated maybe from all of the rest of the university. It's a large campus with many great students and great colleagues. I will say I think that Irish Rover survey, the survey suggesting that more students are favoring Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, there's a lot to dig into there. They balance out the students from across the campus. They point out that both candidates are deeply unpopular with students. Both of them are underwater, if you will. But at the end of the day, whether it's the economy, immigration, abortion, I don't know what it is, but there seems to be a sense in the student body that it's favoring the Republican candidate more than it has at any time in the recent past. So it's certainly an interesting thing to watch out for.
Yeah, for sure. Derek, thank you so much for coming on. I always appreciate your insights.
Of course.